Hello and welcome to day 10 of the 30-day Bible study challenge. So today we will be reading in 1 Timothy 2. Now we're just going to cover verse 11 today. If you've read ahead, which I hope you have, this is a hard passage. Took me a lot. I've been doing a lot of reading and looking at this and kind of dreading talking about it, not because it's not something that it needs to be talked about, but because it is a hard topic. And so just follow along with me, and I encourage you to look this stuff up for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. You should be doing that yourself. So in 1 Timothy 2:11, it says, a woman, or it says a wife, also another translation for that, should learn in quietness and full submission. Now this sounds, a lot of, especially nowadays, people take this and say, the church is patriarchal, and they just want women to be quiet and never speak and stuff like that. And I think it's really important to take this in context. In the context we're speaking here, Paul is talking to in the city of Ephesus. He's talking to people who their entire culture, Jewish culture and Greek culture also, is the woman and wife is in the house, in the home, and that's all she has. That's the only part she has. Not supposed to learn any of that kind of stuff. And so we take this and we see, oh my gosh, Paul's patriarchal. He doesn't view women in a good way and stuff like that. But I think it's important that we look at what submission really means, what to submit really means. In Philippians 2, great chapter. I quoted from there a little while ago, and so we'll start reading in verse 3. That's 3 and 4 is what I read before. But do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interest of others. In your relationship with one another, have the same mindset as Jesus Christ, who being in the very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness. And being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. I think a lot of people, when they hear the word submission, they think of, wrestling terms like submit, you pile drive them and submit or I'll crush you, kind of thing like that. We think of it in that terms. But that's not what this means here. The submission here is to voluntarily put yourself under someone's authority. Jesus submitted to God. It said he did nothing without God saying so. He submitted himself under God. It says he did not, being in the very nature God, he did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. He is part of the Trinity, but he submits to God the Father. Inside of every relationship where you can learn, and in a Christian relationship, we should be submitted under authority. I'm submitted under Pastor John's authority. That means I respect him. That means I listen to what he has to say. Doesn't mean he's more of a Christian than me or a better person than me. It means that I take his advice and know that he has had more experience than me, and that what he's looking to do for me as a person, he's looking after me. And so in this situation, it's not that men are more than women. It's not that men are better than women. It's just that the man's role, his nature, is to protect, is to look after, is to throw himself in front of a bullet or a train to push a woman out of danger, or a child or something like that. And so when a woman submits underneath that, it's saying that she's that protection. They're not saying that she's lesser, not saying that she's inferior. It's saying that she's putting herself under that. And that protection. Now, the man's role in this situation is to love his wife, is to love, to love women, is to treat them with full respect. Just because Pastor John is my boss doesn't mean he treats me like garbage. He treats me very well. He's looking out for me. He wants the best for me. God the Father with Jesus Christ, it says he raised him up. It's like Jesus submitted himself under God, and it's God raised him up, and his name is exalted above all other names. Now, the man's role in this is to look after a woman and to care for her. And so this is taken, I think, a lot of times out of context, and the church has done this a lot of times throughout history, as to see it as man being superior to woman, and that we are to make all the decisions and be in charge of everything, and that a woman is just simply to listen to us and stuff like that. And that's not what Paul is saying here, and that's not the nature of Christianity. And so don't just take my word for this. Look this up for yourself. Do some research. That's one of the most important things, is that my word is not God's word. God's word is God's word. And so this is my opinion, and I've done research on this and stuff like that, but I think it's really important that all of us do this, and that we look out for the value of others, and that we look at the broad thing of Christianity is that we love people. All right, that is the end of day 10. I hope this is the beginning of a good explanation for you. I know this is a really interesting, hard passage for a lot of us to look at. So I will see you guys tomorrow.